You think you can go back in time, don't you? Science fiction says so. Every movie, every show, every story tells you it's possible. Build a machine, find a wormhole, and travel faster than light. Go back and fix your mistakes. Meet your ancestors. Change history. Everyone naively believes this. Of course, wrong. Time travel to the past is impossible. Not because we haven't figured out how to do it yet. Not because the technology doesn't exist. It's impossible because the universe itself forbids it. The laws of physics conspire to prevent it. And when Stephen Hawking proved this, he destroyed one of humanity's most cherished dreams. This isn't speculation. This isn't philosophy. This is pure physics. Cold, hard, mathematical proof that you can never go back. Let me show you why right now. And more importantly, what happens when you try. Let's start with what seems possible. Einstein's theory of relativity tells us something extraordinary. Time is not absolute. Time is flexible. It bends, it stretches, and it slows down. This isn't theory. This has been measured, proven, and tested thousands of times. If you travel fast enough, time slows down for you, not as a feeling. It happens exactly like this. Your clock ticks slower than someone standing still. Astronauts on the International Space Station age slightly slower than people on Earth. The difference is tiny, only a few milliseconds over months. Atomic clocks prove it. Particles moving near light speed live longer than they should. Moons created in Earth's upper atmosphere by cosmic rays should decay before reaching the ground, but they don't. Because from their perspective, time is moving slower. They experience less time. That's why they survive the journey. This happens constantly, millions of times per second. Yes, you heard that right. Millions of times per second. GPS satellites have to account for this, or they'd fail within hours. They orbit at high speeds. Time runs differently up there. The satellite's clocks tick faster than clocks on Earth's surface. Engineers program corrections into the system. Without relativity, even GPS would be useless. This is called time dilation, and the truth is, you can travel to the future, right now. But how? Get on a spaceship, accelerate to 99% of light speed, fly around for what feels like 1 year to you, then come back to Earth. And you'll find that decades have passed. Everyone you know has aged or died. You've traveled to their future. This works. Yes, this is allowed. The universe has no problem with forward time travel, but backward, that's different. The universe draws a definitive line there. Here's why people think backward time travel might be possible. General relativity allows for something called closed time-like curves. These are paths through space-time that loop back on themselves. If you follow one of these paths, you end up in your own past. The mathematics allows it. The equations don't forbid it. On the contrary, in certain space-time geometries, these curves exist. In 1949, Kurt Gödel, Einstein's colleague at Princeton, found a solution to Einstein's equations, a rotating universe. In Gödel's universe, if you traveled far enough in one direction, you'd end up in your own past. Einstein was very disturbed by this. He had not expected his equations to permit time travel. Rotating black holes were creating closed time-like curves. In 1963, Roy Kerr found the solution for a spinning black hole inside the ergosphere, the region just outside the event horizon. Space-time is dragged around with the rotation. If you orbit in the right way, the math says you could loop back in time. And wormholes, theoretical tunnels through space-time, could create them too. In 1988, Kip Thorne and his students at Caltech showed that wormholes might allow time travel. A wormhole connects 2 points in space, and possibly 2 points in time. One mouth could be in the year 2025. The other mouth could be in the year 1950. Step through, and you're 75 years in the past. The math clearly says this could work. Einstein's equations don't say no either. When Thorne published this, he sent a copy to Hawking. Hawking was skeptical. Very skeptical. And he set out to prove that time travel to the past is impossible. So why don't we build one? Why can't we go back? Because every time you try to create a time machine, the universe destroys it. Not randomly, not accidentally. It destroys it systematically. As if the laws of physics are designed to prevent it. Here's what Hawking discovered. When you try to create a closed time-like curve, when you try to bend space-time into a loop that allows backward time travel, something catastrophic happens. The vacuum explodes. Empty space, as we know from Hawking radiation and quantum field theory, isn't empty. It's filled with quantum fluctuations, virtual particles popping in and out of existence. Normally, this is fine. The energy averages out to nearly zero. We can even measure this. The Casimir effect proves it. Two metal plates placed very close together in a vacuum experience a force pushing them together. This force comes from quantum vacuum fluctuations. It's been measured with incredible precision. But near a time machine, near a closed time-like curve, these fluctuations don't average out. They accumulate. Virtual photons travel around the closed time-like curve. They pass through the same point in space-time multiple times. Each pass adds more energy. The energy doesn't cancel out. It builds up. The energy density becomes infinite. The vacuum itself becomes unstable. It creates a runaway feedback loop. The more you try to curve space-time backward, the more energy builds up. And that energy fights back. It creates its own gravitational field. It opposes the curvature. It prevents the time machine from forming. Hawking calculated this in 1992. He showed that just before a wormhole becomes a time machine, just before the first closed time-like curve forms, the quantum vacuum energy density diverges. It goes to infinity. The wormhole doesn't survive this. It can't, because the energy is too large. It collapses or explodes. Either way, the time machine naturally destroys itself. Think about what this means. You're trying to build a wormhole. You're trying to hold it open. You need exotic matter, matter with negative energy density. That's already incredibly difficult. The only known way to create negative energy is through quantum effects. And even then, only in tiny amounts. Only in special configurations. Nothing like what you would need for a human-sized wormhole. But let's say you manage it. You've somehow collected enough exotic matter. You've created your wormhole. You've stabilized it. You've connected 2 points in space-time. Ships could pass through it. Messages could be sent. Now you try to turn it into a time machine. You move one end. You put it on a spaceship. You accelerate it. You use time dilation to create a time difference between the two mouths. Years pass at one end. Only months pass at the other. One mouth is in 2025. The other is now in 2020. You've done it. You step toward the entrance. And the wormhole explodes. Not because you made a mistake. Not because your engineering wasn't good enough. But because the laws of physics don't allow what you're trying to do. The quantum vacuum energy builds up at the moment the wormhole becomes a time machine. At the moment the first closed time-like curve forms. And it completely destroys everything. This is Hawking's Chronology Protection Conjecture. The laws of physics prevent the formation of closed time-like curves. They always prevent it. The universe conspires to make time machines impossible. Hawking announced this conjecture in 1992 at a physics conference. He said the laws of physics do not allow the appearance of closed time-like curves. He called it a conjecture because we don't have a complete quantum theory of gravity to prove it rigorously, but every calculation supports it. But here's the really interesting part. We don't have a complete proof. We can't prove it from first principles. We don't have a theory of quantum gravity that would let us calculate exactly what happens. String theory might provide it, loop quantum gravity might provide it, but we're not there yet. All we have is evidence, strong evidence, mathematical evidence. Every time we try to construct a time machine in theory, something goes wrong. Every single time. Physicists have tried for decades. They've explored rotating universes, cosmic strings, Alcubierre drives, every possible mechanism, and every time, the same thing happens. The energy blows up, space-time becomes singular, the equations break down, wormholes collapse, vacuum fluctuations diverge, causality violations are prevented. It's as if nature is telling us, you can't do this, because I'll break your machine before you succeed. Take the Alcubierre drive. In 1994, Miguel Alcubierre proposed a way to travel faster than light by warping space-time. You create a bubble. Space contracts in front of you. Space expands behind you. You surf the wave. You move faster than light without actually moving through space. The math works. The equations allow it. And if you can travel faster than light, you can arrive at your destination before you left. Relativity allows this. It creates a closed time-like curve. You could deliver a message to yourself before you send it. You could travel to the past. But there's a problem. The Alcubierre drive requires negative energy. Enormous amounts of negative energy, more than exists in the entire universe. And even if you had it, Hawking's argument applies. As soon as you try to close the time-like curve, quantum effects destroy the drive. The vacuum energy becomes infinite. The bubble collapses. Every proposal fails. Every mechanism breaks down. The universe always finds a way to stop you. Now, you might ask, why does the universe care? Why does it forbid backward time travel but allow forward time travel? The answer is causality, cause and effect. The fundamental structure of reality. If you could go back in time, you could violate causality. You could create paradoxes. The grandfather paradox is the most famous. You go back in time. You prevent your grandfather from meeting your grandmother. You're never born. But if you're never born, you never went back in time. So your grandfather does meet your grandmother, so you are born. So you do go back. It's a logical contradiction. Some physicists say, maybe paradoxes resolve themselves. Maybe the timeline splits. Maybe you create a parallel universe when you go back. You kill your grandfather in a different universe. Your original timeline remains unchanged. Many worlds interpretation, multiple timelines, parallel realities. Maybe consistency is enforced by quantum mechanics. Maybe you're physically prevented from doing anything that creates a paradox. You try to shoot your grandfather. The gun jams. You try again. Something else prevents it. The universe conspires to maintain consistency. Maybe. But Hawking said no. The universe doesn't allow the situation to arise in the first place. It doesn't need to resolve paradoxes, because it prevents you from creating them. Time machines don't form. Closed time-like curves don't exist. The problem never occurs. And here's what should blow your mind. This isn't just about time machines. This tells us something profound about the nature of time itself. Time has a direction. You can only move forward, not by human limitation, not by technological limitation, but by the fundamental structure of space-time. The past is fixed, unchangeable, sealed. Not because it happened, but because the laws of physics make it impossible to reach. You cannot affect what has already occurred. You cannot change what has been. The universe is built that way. The geometry of space-time forbids backward travel. Think about the implications. Every decision you've ever made is permanent. Every mistake is final. There's no going back. You don't have the luxury of starting over. No second chances through time travel. The universe doesn't allow it. This is deeper than you think. It means that space-time has a global structure that forbids certain paths. It's not that time travel is hard. It's not that we need better technology. Reality itself is structured to prevent it. The geometry of the universe, the quantum fields, the vacuum energy, all of it works together to enforce causality. Hawking called this the Chronology Protection Conjecture because it's not proven. It's a conjecture. An educated guess based on every calculation we've done. Every attempt to build a theoretical time machine fails. The math always finds a way to stop it. We don't have the final theory yet, but the pattern is always clear. And here's something fascinating. We don't know why the universe is this way. We can describe how it prevents time travel, vacuum fluctuations, energy density, quantum effects, singularities. But we don't know the underlying reason. Why does nature enforce causality? Why is backward time travel forbidden while forward time travel is allowed? Some physicists think it's connected to entropy, the second law of thermodynamics. Disorder always increases. Time flows in the direction of increasing entropy. Broken cups don't reassemble. Smoke doesn't flow back into cigarettes. Heat doesn't spontaneously concentrate. The universe has a direction. And maybe this arrow of time is what prevents backward travel. If you went back, you'd have to decrease entropy. You'd have to reverse the natural flow. And the universe won't allow that. The second law is absolute. It operates everywhere, at all scales. And maybe this is what locks us into forward motion. Others think it's about information. Quantum mechanics says information is conserved. It can't be destroyed. It can be scrambled, hidden, encoded, but never destroyed. But if you created a paradox, if you prevented your own existence, where does the information go? The information that describes you, your actions, your existence in the timeline. If you erase yourself from history, that information vanishes, gone, destroyed. And quantum mechanics forbids this. Information conservation might be what prevents paradoxes. The universe might forbid backward time travel to preserve information conservation. We don't know which explanation is correct. Maybe both. Maybe neither. Maybe there's a deeper principle we haven't discovered yet. What we do know is that every road to the past is blocked. Wormholes collapse. Closed Timelike curves explode. Causality violations are prevented. The universe protects its own consistency. Now let me tell you the most disappointing part. The part that crushes every science fiction dream you've ever had. Even if Hawking is wrong. Even if the Chronology Protection Conjecture fails. Even if we find a loophole, a way around the quantum vacuum catastrophe, a method to stabilize a wormhole, a source of exotic matter, even then, you can't change the past. Because of something called the Novikov self-consistency principle, named after physicist Igor Novikov. If time travel to the past were possible, You could only do things that are consistent with the timeline. You could go back, but you couldn't change anything, because you already went back. Your trip to the past is already part of history. It already happened. You'd be stuck in a deterministic loop. Everything you do in the past, you already did. You can't kill your grandfather because you didn't kill your grandfather. History shows he survived. He met your grandmother. You exist. Therefore, you failed to kill him, or you never tried. The timeline is self-consistent. You're not creating the past. You're fulfilling it. You think you have free will. You think you can make choices when you go back, but you can't. Your actions are already determined. Already written into history. You're just acting out what already occurred. So either the universe prevents you from going back entirely, which is what Hawking argued, or it allows you to go back but prevents you from changing anything, which is what Novikov argued. Either way, you lose. You can't fix your mistakes. You can't alter history. You can't save anyone. You can't change the outcome. Time travel to the past is either impossible or useless. Those are your options. The universe gives you no third choice, no middle ground, no compromise. And here's what this tells us about reality. The past is real, fixed, unchangeable. It exists in the structure of space-time, not as a memory, not as a record, but as an actual part of the four-dimensional fabric of the universe. You can't reach it, but it's there, solid, permanent, immutable. The future is different. The future is open, undetermined. Multiple possibilities exist. You can affect it. You can change it. Every decision you make shapes what comes next. Every choice matters. Every action has consequences that ripple forward in time. But what came before? Locked, sealed, beyond your reach, inaccessible. The past is a foreign country, and there's no way to visit. This is the universe we live in. Forward motion only, no reverse, no rewind, no going back. And Hawking proved that this isn't a technological limitation. It's not a matter of insufficient engineering. It's a law of nature, built into the structure of reality itself. Some people find this depressing. No second chances. No way to fix the past. No ability to prevent tragedies. Hitler still rises. Wars still happen. Loved ones still die. And you can't stop any of it. But think about it differently. It means your choices matter. What you do right now shapes the future. You can't go back and undo it. You can't erase it. You can't fix it later with a time machine. So choose carefully. Act wisely. Because this moment, right now, will become part of the unchangeable past. That's not depressing. That's profound. It gives weight to your actions, meaning to your decisions, consequences to your choices. You're not rehearsing. You're not practicing. This is real and permanent. The universe is telling you something. Pay attention. Be present. Make it count. Because you only get one shot, one timeline, one life moving forward through time. There's no going back to fix it. So what is the chronology protection conjecture really? It's the universe telling us that time has a direction, that causality matters, that the past is fixed and the future is open, that you can't cheat, you can't go back, you can move forward, and only forward, through the river of time. Hawking didn't destroy our dreams. He revealed the truth, and the truth is more interesting than any science fiction story, because it's real. This is how the universe actually works. And it means that right now, this present moment, is the most important thing there is. You can't change what happened. You can only affect what happens next. And that's not a limitation, that's freedom. That's a responsibility, that's the structure of reality. That's how time works. And now you know why. You know why the universe forbids time travel to the past. Why closed time-like curves destroy themselves. Why wormholes collapse. Why every attempt to break causality fails. Because the universe is consistent. Because the laws of physics enforce causality. Because time has an arrow. And that arrow only points forward. That's the answer. And it changes everything.